back to Broken Dolly TV. My name is Gypsy, and we are still doing our sculpt study series. So this is the installment where we're going to be covering only one of the head sculpts, but that's because I have so many of this head sculpt, the most in my collection. I don't have room to feature any other sculpts in this video for you guys. What are we talking about? We're talking about Mbili. Mbili has another nickname. We also call her Grace at times, but usually the Grace sculpt is the playline version of Mbili, and I will show you the difference between some of them so you can tell them apart a little bit better. Let's just go through and see what we've got. Okay, so altogether I have 11 of these in my collection, and let's start with the Sew and Style dolls, you guys. All right then, so those of you guys who have been collecting for a bit are already familiar with the Sew and Style Barbie doll series, and that particular line featured 4 Mbili sculpts that were used in 4 different skin tones. So we had Chang'e, which was this character with the darkest, deepest skin tone available at the time. We have Marissa, the lightest skin tone available in this group of dolls. Then we had Kara, or Kara, however you wanted to pronounce her name, and she had like the coppery kind of a bronze skin tone, one of the darker skin tones in this line. And we have Trishelle, who is also one of the lighter skin tones. She's like a light skin brown. I would say the closest in made to move doll complexions would be the orange top, and she's actually on an orange top body. So I do have all of my Sew and Style dolls rebodied. They have made to move bodies except for the Kara character here. She's on her original body, and the reason why she does not have a made to move body is because we don't have any made to move dolls that have this skin tone available to put her on. She's got a very unique skin tone, and it's like a reddish brown, almost like a brick type of a color. So we just don't have any dolls that are this skin tone to swap her onto yet. But the original body did have pretty good articulation. It's standard, but they had really good knees. You know, we have the pivotal knees that you can kind of move back and forth this way, but these ones only lock up and down, so you can bend it, you know, like this and up, right? I like these knees a lot better because they're more sturdy and they don't wobble all over the place, and the doll's legs don't feel as weak on these knees. And she did not have any articulation in the ankles, which I'm fine with as well, because it just makes the doll a little bit more sturdy on the body without those ankle joints, unless they're very, very sturdy joints, you know? So for my collection, I bought these dolls somewhere around 2012-ish. At that time, they were still available online sparsely, but the prices were starting to go up for these dolls. All of them I repainted except for the Marissa character, and she is renamed Soan, who is our channel mascot. I left her the way that she was, so I didn't mess with her face, but the other 3 I did repaint, and this was my older technique that I used to use when I repainted my dolls. The coloring and the face up is very subtle on them. It's not super like noticeable paint jobs. I no longer use this technique. I do something different with my dolls. But for nostalgia's sake, I just kept these dolls instead of selling them. This one is Rainy, and she's wearing one of these OOAK graphics that my son made for me on her dress. And I renamed this one Brielle, and I renamed this one Callista. They all have different hair textures and colors, which I really love. There's a lot of diversity in this series, even though they're all the same head sculpt, you guys. So I love that. I love that they all look very different from each other, even with the same sculpt. And this was a really fun line that was super, super popular. And the designer of this doll line actually went on to make a different brand of dolls called the Pretty Girls, which we also have all of the Pretty Girls in our collection. Unfortunately, Barbie Mattel decided to just kill this line for whatever reasons. I don't know, politics, whatever. But they were definitely a hit amongst fans, and collectors were very disappointed that we did not get more of these dolls. And of course, there's more than just these 4 versions of these dolls. They had like the baby fat ones, which are the ones that I have. There were the Rockaware ones. There was a boy character named Darren. There were little sisters that came with the dolls too. There were many different versions of these dolls, and I think some of them are still available on Amazon and eBay. If you look good enough, you might be able to find some at semi-decent prices, but I doubt you're gonna find them at anything closer to retail prices. If you find them somewhere for a good price, if somebody doesn't know what they're selling, you better bag it up when you see it, y'all. Okay, moving on to the other Mbili sculpts that I have. I think it's just a coincidence that a lot of my repaints happen to be on this sculpt, but I think that's also because I have so many of this sculpt. So this is another one of my repaints. She was a Grace doll. Grace is a different skin tone from the other 4 dolls back there, and I think that Grace was actually part of the Soul and Style Dolls series as well, which I totally forgot about. Yeah, so there's actually 5 of those characters, and this one I braided up all her hair into box braids, but the hair quality, I'm not really a big fan of this hair quality. This is not that super smooth saran hair that they've been making the dolls with lately. Yeah, so her hair is quite unruly just because of the kind of hair that this is. And I feel like I need to give it some type of a treatment to make it a little bit more tame, but in the meantime I braided it up because I didn't really feel like dealing with it. And see like how her bangs, they're just kind of all over the place. That's one of the things I did not like about the hair quality on this doll. I had to add her because I wanted to repaint the face, and I like the way she turned out. And this one I named Somi, and she's actually supposed to be Someone's sister back there. So Sowon, she's supposed to be half Korean and half black like me, and Somi is her sister, and they're both half Korean and black, but very different skin tones, much like me and my sister. My sister is like very high yellow, almost white, her skin tone, and then I'm naturally just more tan and brown than her, like a reddish brown kind of color. But over the years, depending on how much exposure we get to the sun, our complexions start to change. Normally, she's way lighter than I am. I wanted to represent that with my dolls. So this one with the very dark skin tone and the cool looking eyes. Look at her eyes. They're like a very light honey brown kind of color. And she is my doll Fufu, who I made a Garifuna girl. We actually found out about the Garifuna people who live in Belize from one of our viewers who was from there, and she was telling us about her culture, and we thought it was so awesome that we decided to add a doll to our collection to represent them. So that's how we ended up with Fufu here. She was originally the petite Fashionistas doll that came out back when the different body types were coming out, and so she is supposed to be petite, but she's actually on a regular size made to move body. I'm gonna have to do a comparison of her next to my other petite doll now that we have petite bodies available because of the BMR doll in this darker skin tone. I wonder if they maybe would match skin tones. Maybe, I don't know. So maybe I'll get another one and put her onto that body if she can actually match the skin tone, but I don't know because I don't have her in front of me right now. This is Imagine, and she is just a standard Grace skin tone, which is the same as made to move yellow top. And most of the dolls that I have on a made to move body do have the yellow top body, like Somi in the background there. So she is also on a yellow top body. You can get the same skin tone effect with the Lieutenant Uhura doll, who is also the same color as made to move yellow top, but she just has slightly different made to move joints. She is originally a Barbie look doll. I believe she is, I don't know which version of the Barbie look doll she is. I'll put it up on the screen for you guys because I know I'm gonna remember it as I'm editing instead. She's got this massive curls in her ponytail up at the top of her head. I love the way that the curls look, so I didn't want to disturb them. So even though I normally do remove the doll's hair from their original hairstyles, like I did here with Fufu, I decided to leave her hair alone for now, and she still has the gel in her hair, so it's still kind of crunchy, but I don't really do anything with this doll. She's not really a character that I've thought up for anything yet. She's more just like a background character, so I don't worry about really like doing anything to personalize her too much. As long as she's dressed nice and I can put her on display, I'm totally okay with her like that. So I feel like she's kind of like tier B in my collection. I just like the way she looked, and I like the clothes that she came with. So I think that's really what I wanted her for. The original doll did have articulation, but she had that really tall, skinny, slender, like model muse articulated body that the Barbie look dolls came with, which I wasn't a big fan of for her. So I ended up switching her onto the MTM body instead, and I like her much better that way. And this outfit she's got on, the overalls, these are actually from a Pretty Girls doll, and this is like one of my favorite pieces that those dolls came with. They came with some really nice clothes, which I am like a big fan of, so I liked that about those dolls. And big up to Stacy, who is the designer there, who I'm sure had a lot to do with how the dolls ended up being dressed. Let's move on to the next dolls in my Mbili collection here. So one of my latest acquisitions of sculpts here are the Barbie Extra dolls. And I do have all of the ethnic versions. I don't have the Millie head sculpt. All of them had really bad hair quality except for one of the ones that I bought. This one, she's the really pale skin tone. She's on her original body. So the good thing about those dolls was that all of them came with articulation already. So if you didn't have body donors for them, you didn't really have to worry about that part. So they just had standard articulation, of course, the hollow bodies. And I thought she was really pretty. It took me a while to figure out what head sculpt she had because I kind of wanted to say she was a skipper sculpt at first. And then I was like, no, she kind of looks like a goddess too. So I wasn't really sure because of the way that they did her face up. She looks very Asianish, but I think that she is an Mbili sculpt after very closely examining her facial features due to the fact that her head is slightly bigger than some of my Mbili sculpts. So it was difficult to tell. And this was what I was talking about earlier when I said that sometimes we can interchange Grace as the name of this mold, and the Grace version of the doll is usually the playline version, which has more exaggerated features. The spacing of the features are much bigger on this head compared to a standard Mbili sculpt, which I don't know, it just seems like a more realistic proportions, less cartoony, I guess. It is the same sculpt, but she just got a little bit bigger head. It may be because she's on a curvy body that they decided to kind of make her head a little bit bigger. She's wearing one of these graphics that my son did for me. It's a dragon that wraps around the shirt, and it's so cute. And she's got two-tone hair, like half of her head is pink and half of her head is light purple, like pastel colors with sparkles. So I thought that would be a cool shirt for her to wear to match her hair. She's just very like out of this world looking. She looks like, you know, I don't know, somebody who would be like in a spaceship or something. So that's just the vibe that she gave to me. I decided to name her Tenchi, which is a Japanese name, and I named the drummer doll here, I named her Tijani, the drummer from the Barbie and the Rockers series, and she was probably one of the most popular in that series. I think it's the only one that I actually have from that series myself. She came with an articulated body already, and she also had a drum set that she came with, which was super cool. And I put her onto a made to move body, so she's chilling on her made to move body. Her complexion is much like Solan's back there in the background. Both of them have what I think is the standard Barbie dolls skin tone. They are supposed to be ethnic girls, but like my twins, Reagan and Sierra, they're very light skinned. So they don't have the most pale skin tone like her, but they have the next skin tone darker from that, which is regular Barbie skin tone. So that's the bodies that I use for those girls. And I think it suits them just fine. I really like them with articulation. The outfit she's got on, this jacket is actually from an Integrity Toys doll that I no longer have. I think I sold the doll that this jacket came with. I really liked her clothes, so I kept all of her clothes and I sold her nude, and that's what she's wearing. It's a super, very like a rock star-ish kind of a jacket, the way that it's cut, and very well made. Integrity Toys does an awesome job with their clothing for their dolls. It's so realistic, and she's got really cool features too, like her face. Her eyes are really, really big, and she has very light colored eyes, which are getting a little harder to see in my lighting right now because my sunlight is starting to go away on me, you guys. Okay, we got a couple more of these girls to go through. Here's Siji Ranson, and she I named after my childhood imaginary friend. She's wearing one of Ginu's graphics on her shirt, the OOAK graphic, which is for one of a kind, if you were wondering. And I love this doll's hair. This doll is a Fashionista doll, and she came with a very high ponytail, and her hair, the whole thing is like these crimply tiny little waves in her hair. They're kind of subtle. This reminds me of like a coarse hair texture that's relaxed, like natural relaxed black girl hair. This is what it looks like when you straighten the hair. I thought that was a really cool feature that she had, and I love it. And it reminds me of some of my cousins, their hair texture when they straighten it out. So I really love that. And her hair is super long too. I did trim it just a little bit, not on the ends, but I cut some layers into her hair because I felt like it was way too long in the front. So here I did cut a few shorter layers into the front of her head so we can frame her face better. But I just love her eyes. I think she has sad looking eyes. And that's one of the things I really like on my Barbies, when they look like they have facial expressions. And I don't know, is it just me, or what do you guys think? She just looks kind of like she's just thinking about something really hard. And then last but not least, we have our Blasian BMR 1959 doll with the braided hair. She's got micro braids all throughout her head. They're rooted into her hair. The doll comes with her hair like this already, which is so freaking fun. I love box braids on my dolls, and when I braid them myself, I cannot get them this tiny. So this is really, really cool how small the braids are. Very realistic. This doll was actually a gift from one of our viewers, Kelsey, on Instagram. But yeah, she actually gifted this doll to Adonis because he really liked her, and that's how she ended up in our collection. But I have her dressed in a hanbok dress because I don't really get to see a lot of Blasian looking faces dressed in our traditional clothing, and we decided that she was gonna be a half black and Korean girl like so many of our other Blasian girls are in our collection. All of our Blasian dolls actually aren't black and Korean. Some of them are black and something else Asian, but just a lot of them we made them black and Korean girls. So this particular version, we gave her the name of Monroe. She just looks like a Monroe, and I don't know, maybe it's the little beauty mark on her face. I don't know, you know, Marilyn Monroe, that was like her signature thing, her little beauty mark on her face. So I don't know, maybe that's where it came from. I really don't know, but the dolls tell us what they want to be called. Also, I noticed about this doll, she kind of looks like she has like little bags under her eyes. If you look very closely, just the way that her vinyl is molded, it's just the way that her sculpt was made. My other Mbili dolls don't have very pronounced bags under their eyes. They're there, but it's very slight, not as much as this one. So I thought that was kind of interesting that she has that little feature. Look at how squinty her eyes are. She just looks so believably Blasian to me. And she already came with the little baby hairs drawn around the perimeter of her head, the edges of her hairline. So that was a really cool extra feature that Carlisle Nuera decided to put on these dolls, and I really love that. I love the detail he puts into his designs. Altogether, like I said, I have 11 Mbili sculpts, and because I was able to do this inventory of my dolls to see what I had in my collection of sculpts, I can't justify adding any more of these guys to my collection because I feel like it's just gonna be overdoing it. 11 is more than enough, and I'm not going to be actively looking for Mbili sculpts to add any more until, I don't know, until I get tired of these guys, or if I end up getting rid of some of them. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I really do like a lot of these dolls, so I don't foresee that I'm gonna be getting rid of them. I may end up like selling some of them if I decide I need to make room in my collection, but I try not to get rid of the dolls that people gave to us. So she is a keeper for sure. And who else? Is there somebody else here that someone gave to me? So the rest of them are fair game. I mean, at any point I might decide to get rid of them. I definitely will never get rid of Rainy, although I have gotten offers for her from people who wanted to buy her from me, but I cannot duplicate that face, and I need her for the show. So if we retire the show, then maybe I will sell her. But until then, I cannot sell Rainy, you guys. But my other repaints, I may end up selling them. Even Somi back there, it wouldn't break my heart to part with her. So I might have to downsize some of my Mbili sculpts in order to add any other ones in the future, because I just don't feel comfortable adding more when I have so many already, right? That's just how I feel about it. And besides these dolls, the ones that I have the second most of are gonna be Skipper head sculpt. The Kira head sculpt is the other two that I have the most of besides Mbili. This was very interesting for me to see how many of these dolls I actually have in this sculpt, and to be able to kind of organize my thoughts around what a priority these dolls are for me to continue adding to my collection. And I really do suggest that you guys do something similar with your own dolls, so you can get a grasp of like, why do you have so many of a specific doll, and do you need any more? Make more conscious decisions when you're trying to look for other dolls to add to your collection. Unless it's a grail doll that you just must have, don't buy dolls because it's just the fad or the trend or the latest doll that's out. Buy them because you really love the sculpts, you really love them, and you really want them in your collection. Some of you guys are not avid customizers and you're not avid body swappers like I am. I'm like I don't know, just default, I'm looking for a body to swap you onto if you don't already have articulation. Sometimes my doll will come with articulation, but I still end up swapping it because I feel like they would look better on a different body type. Like maybe I feel like I want to see how you look on a curvy body or a petite body or a tall body. So I may end up swapping your initial articulated body to something different. Or also in some cases, they don't come with MTM articulation, but I might have some extra MTM dolls that fit that skin tone, so I'll just do a body swap so they can have more joints. So for various reasons, I will end up swapping my heads, and it's completely an ordinary thing for me to do without even thinking about it, you know? So that's one of the factors that I think about when I'm buying dolls, whether or not I'm gonna be able to find a body to swap you onto. And if I feel like it's gonna be too much of a hassle trying to figure out what body to put them on, then I probably will skip those dolls unless they're absolute must-haves. That's just what I do. Everybody does it different, so I'm just giving you guys some ideas. If you have any questions about any of the dolls that I've shown you in this particular episode, then go ahead and leave it in the comment section. I'll try to answer your questions as much as I can. I cannot tell you guys, I know some of you guys will be like, where can I buy this doll? Bruh, I don't know. I don't know where you can buy the doll. The places that I go to mostly are Amazon, because they seem to have the lowest prices of dolls that are brand new in the box still. And then I'll go to eBay because they seem to have better deals on dolls that are out of the box. When, you know, some of my dolls I buy like just the head because I know I have a body to put it onto, or I'll buy a nude version of the doll because I don't care about all of the stuff that the doll's supposed to come with. It just depends on what your preference is. eBay's pretty reliable when it comes to the dolls that are so-called used or they're new but not in the box. I have not really had any problems with them ever since I've been, you know, buying off of eBay, and I sell on eBay too. So another thing you can do is just go on an actual doll hunt in your local area. Go to Walmart, Target. Tuesday morning, my local Tuesday morning is dried up in the doll section for some reasons. I don't know if that's like all over the country. Roses is a really good place to go and find. I found a lot of like sew and style dolls and the pretty girls dolls. I found a lot of them at Roses. So go there and look for dolls too. If you're living in the South, that's a really good place to go and check out for dolls. Family Dollar sometimes has some obscure random Barbie dolls available. Sometimes department stores like Kohl's, Sears at the mall, or in your local area like Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, even those stores, if they have toy sections, you might be surprised to find that there are some Barbies over there that you would not normally think you'd find at those stores. So just go and look. Any store that has a doll section or a toy section, you just never know. So go and look, because we have found random dolls at those places. Oh, and Big Lots is a good place to look as well for fashion figures and even some of the male action figure guys who are in 1/6 scale. So you might want to look at those places as well. So those are the stores in your local areas that you guys can go to. And of course, you got to head up the Goodwill, Salvation Army, the local thrift shops. You've got to go over there too, because people get rid of their kids' Barbie doll stashes all the time, and sometimes they have really good head sculpts that you can salvage and put onto different bodies, and they're like $1, $3. Like, they don't even know the value of the stuff they're selling over there. And sometimes they're in pretty good condition, but sometimes they're, you know, flea market condition. But that's okay, because there's so many tutorials that help you to spruce the dolls up if you need to. And I have found some dolls that way too. So go ahead and check out those places. But online, like I said, try the websites that I told you about. Also try Barbie Mattel's website. Hello, they sell dolls at Barbie's website too. Go ahead and look over there. Sometimes Barbie.com will link you to different retailers where people are selling those particular dolls, even if the site itself ran out of them. And don't be afraid to buy off of people on Instagram or different collectors who are getting rid of parts of their stash. If you have any other questions, drop them in the comments. My name is Gypsy. If you like the graphics that you saw on some of these dolls' clothes, you can find them for yourself in our merch shop. So go ahead and check out that as well. And I will see you in the next one. Have a dolly day. And when he gets my message, he'll be so delighted.